celebrating the storytellers who widen our horizons. Authors on the Air.
There's so much magic to it, and hitting that magic and finding out when's the right time to get to it and how do you find it is part of what makes it so rare and special.
Marie Sutro burst onto the scene in the fall of 2020 with the award-winning bestseller Dark Associations, introducing us to San Francisco detective Kate Barnes and a world Alfred Hitchcock and Stephen King might have created had they ever worked together. Now comes the second in the Kate Barnes series, Dark Obsessions, where Kate heads to the Olympic Peninsula hoping to heal the present by resolving the past.
Dark Obsessions is a story that really starts in my first novel, Dark Associations. It follows the adventures of a rookie detective who is pitted up against an insidious serial killer. And in that whole process of stopping this really bad guy, my main character, Kate, goes through a lot. She becomes very traumatized. And she learns that perhaps there's things from her past that have been brought up here that she needs to put to rest. So she travels to Washington State, to the Olympic Peninsula specifically, to go see really what she can do about her past and really how she can quiet it down.
The setting is really the co-star of Dark Obsessions. What research did you have to do to create that world?
To some degree, I thought, well, gee, George Lucas has never been to the planet of Tatooine, and that's okay because we have imaginations and we don't have to be everywhere, right? And I understood that. But for me, I think because in my first book, the fact that it was my own backyard that I had grown up in, I just wanted to make sure that I was getting it right, that I was really interpreting the research correctly. And so I finally had the opportunity to go up to the Olympic Peninsula, and I took a solo trip because I didn't want any influences or distractions. I just wanted to really experience it all for myself. And it was a great, great trip because there were little ticky-tacky things where I would look at a map on Google Earth, and I would think, oh, well, that looks, and I'd try to measure things and understand where it was. And then once I went there, I said, oh, gee, this doesn't take as long to drive as I thought it would, or it does take longer. And then just hearing more stories from the locals and talking to local law enforcement and understanding what their challenges were and how things operate over there and how that's different than kind of the big city approach. It was so rich, that trip, and it really was wonderful, and I'm always going to hold every memory near and dear to my heart.
How did you pick your genre?
My genre picked me. My father was a police officer, my grandfather was a police officer, and my great-grandfather was a police officer, all in the San Francisco PD. And growing up, I was very lucky because I had the opportunity to understand the world in ways that my father could reveal it to me. And so sometimes when friends would say, especially in high school, hey, let's go do this, this, and this, I was always that person to say, hey, perhaps we shouldn't do that part because that part might lead to this part. And in this context, that would be bad for us. So I really was very blessed from just a lot of sensibilities I absorbed over time. And I think because of that, it made it very important, even though I love Jessica Fletcher and I love the whole cozy world. And who knows, maybe I'll write a cozy one day because I do adore it. But it's very important for me, and I think it's a personal kind of an issue just with my family background, that the reality of death and murder specifically be told with an eye towards the cost that it takes on the toll and the cost that comes out of all the folks that work in that industry.
Over the course of Dark Associations and Dark Obsessions, how has Kate Barnes evolved?
She's still moving on. She's still growing. And what I really loved about this book was the opportunity to dig into who she is and why she is who she is, and have her examine, who do I want to be? Not just who am I because I became an adult and there were so many factors that shaped it that were outside of my control, perhaps. But now that I'm in control, who do I need to be? And how much are these other things that are maybe holdovers from other people and other aspects of her life that have kind of controlled how she's been living it? And that was a really important aspect of the book for me, was the change of scenery. Book 1 takes place in San Francisco. And in the second book, originally, I was going to set it in Seattle. But then I realized that the fast-paced world of big cities isn't necessarily the best place to do a lot of introspection and thinking. And so out in the woods is a very different level of analysis. Even if you're in the middle of this fast-paced race against the clock to try to save people, even the very nature of doing that job is different in the woods than it is in the city. So it became a really important aspect for me.
How did you decide to become an author?
It was a life decision that my husband made. He had a job opportunity in Northern California, and my corporate life was very much about being in big cities, places where I could fly and go places and deal with clients, and it was a very fast-paced kind of an environment. And this job opportunity was great for him, and the nature of it being in such a small town meant that if I were to live there, I wouldn't really be able to have the career that I had had. So we agreed to go, and I decided to keep doing consulting. But then the dream that had always been in my heart and always whispering in the back of my head that I always wanted to write finally had the chance. If it was ever going to be, it was going to be at this point in my life. So I took the chance, and Kate was born.
There are so many definitions of success in our world. What's yours?
That's a very good question. Success for me is probably more basic than it is for other people. I kind of achieved it when I received the first email from someone after my first book came out, someone I didn't know. And it was from an elderly lady living in, I can't remember, somewhere in the Midwest. And at the time it was, January or February, and, there's snow, and it's very different from my existence in California. And she said that she was getting over an illness and that she had been reading the book while she was getting over her illness and recovering. And she said that Kate kept her company, and she wanted to thank me for that. And I always said, all the way back to being a young girl, there is so much magic in what a book can do for you as a person. It allows you to live a different life. It allows you to go places you may never go, whether they're places in time or geography, you name it. And if you could just hit that one person and it mattered to them, that was beyond, when she said that to me, that was beyond just, I was entertained. It was a time where, hey, I could really take her mind off of something. And to me, that was kind of everything. So, would I love to retire tomorrow and be so wealthy? That would be great. But if tomorrow is all there is and I don't get another day, that was more than worth everything, that one email.
Fans of Dark Associations will love Dark Obsessions. The second in the Kate Barnes series affirms Marie Sutro's well-deserved place among the pantheon of today's most exciting creators of spine-tingling suspense. Learn more about Marie at mariesutro.com. I'm Terry Shepard for Authors on the Air, and I'll see you in the next chapter.